Welcome to the hockey podcast that we are begging you to listen to show. My name is Roy Bellamy, and this is David Dwork from the Hockey News. We're going to get right at it. The penalty box door is open. We got a 5-minute major with Kevin Weeks, ESPN hockey analyst, former Florida Panther, and a brother of ours. Welcome to the show, Kevin. We're going to get started.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. We're going to get started with a somber note here. We're going to talk about the Adam Johnson tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? What are the mechanics of this happening? Because we're seeing a lot of tweets saying that he tried to kick him, and I don't honestly understand how that can actually happen in that situation. So why don't you go over the mechanics of how this tragedy can happen?
So basically, this is that's one of those most unfortunate incidents you can imagine on an ice rink. And deepest condolences go out to the Johnson family, his friends, his teammates, everybody on his team and the teams that he's played with and for. Everybody's raved about him in terms of what type of a person he was, what type of a good guy he was. So that's first and foremost. I would then say from there, although this sounds really inconceivable, on a regulation ice rink, it's 200 long by 85 wide. And somehow, sometimes, because the game is so fast, it's so unpredictable, it's so unscripted, it's so chaotic, and the tempo is so high, sometimes you just run out of racetrack. You just run out of room sometimes on the ice. And I've seen instances before when I was playing where guys literally, you just run into each other or you bump into each other. I haven't seen anything quite like what we saw in this instance, per se. It was a really freak, unfortunate incident. The mechanics of it almost looked more like figure skating when Pat Grave ended up spinning around after making contact. It looked like you see figure skaters kind of make that movement. You don't really see that often on the rink, on the hockey rink, per se. It was such a unique play. It happened so quickly. And I think sometimes we forget that these players basically have these steak knives on, for blades on the bottoms of their skates. And because things can happen so quickly, because it can be so chaotic at times, as you saw there, I've never seen something to this extent, but we saw something kind of similar with Clint Malarchuk when I was growing up in the 80s, who was Buffalo Sabres goalie, who ended up getting sliced across the neck. Fortunately for him, he was able to make it to the bench at Buffalo's Memorial Auditorium at the time, and the training staff was able to save him, and he's still here with us today. But what we saw was unprecedented in a sense, really a unique set of circumstances. I clearly feel horrible for all parties involved, especially the young Mr. Johnson, who ended up passing as a result of the incident. Of course, as I mentioned, his teammates and friends and family members, but also for the young man that was on the other end of that play.
Yeah,
he's a fellow Toronto kid too. So that was a tough play for everybody involved. It's the most unlikely yet unfortunate situation you could ever imagine. And it was just so sad.
And with the incident with Clint Malarchuk and with Richard Zetnik both happening in Buffalo, and now
that's right. Yeah, it happened with Zetnik too. He ended up. I remember that.
Yeah, and Adam Johnson this time. Now the world of hockey is calling for neck protection, and in fact, the Western Hockey League is now adopting that. As soon as the teams get their equipment, they are going to strap it on. So
I agree.
As a goaltender,
I think that's long overdue.
Yeah, as a goaltender, how do you feel about that? Because not only do you have the neck protection, I guess it's going to go on your jersey, but as a goaltender with your mask, you also have neck protection for shots that might end up hitting your neck. So how do you feel about that as a player?
I think it's a great idea because I grew up my entire, literally when I started playing at 6 until I retired at 34, I always had a neck protector on, always. So I had the collar, it had the Velcro on the back, and mine was one of the goalie ones, but it sat up probably at about here, at about this height. So I never had the ones, you see some goalies have the plastic one on the bottom of their mask, we call that the dangler. I never had the dangler because I always felt like that obstructed me too much, but I always, my entire career, I had the collar, the neck collar on, and I couldn't imagine ever playing without it. From a goalie standpoint, simply getting a slap shot to the throat would not be ideal, and I've seen that happen. And honestly, those could be pretty scary outcomes. Not to mention, then if you're a player like a skater, you play forward or defense, it's the opposing sticks, it's the opposing skates.
Right.
It could be the boards. You get hit over the boards, anything. And there's so many different points of contact out there in the high contact, chaotic sport. So any one of those kind of unfortunate incidents at any point in time could happen. So I think it's a great idea. I hope our NHL players continue to adapt it, because a lot of them wore them in junior or college. Even some guys over in Europe that are playing pro, some of the younger players, they wear them too. And I'd like to see them mandated just for the safety of the players. I'm going to tell you guys this. Mm-hmm. So when I first came into the league with the Panthers and we're playing down in Old Miami Arena, we were playing against Buffalo, and the puck was loose in front of the net. And I went to go cover the puck with my blocker, a la Dominic Hasek.
Right.
I literally went to go cover it. And Kirk Muller, who was my teammate, ended up skating across. You might not be able to see it here, but ended up skating across my pinky here.
Oh.
So he stepped on my pinky, skated. Again, freak accident. He's my teammate. It was just accidental. And I literally had to like skate off behind our net, straight down the tunnel at Miami Arena. Our training staff came in there, the whole doctor, the medical staff, and I had to have surgery on that pinky. Lacerated tendons, lacerated nerves, everything. And fortunately enough, I was able to have a full recovery, and it's a pinky finger. But that's just how unpredictable and how chaotic it could be on the ice. So any measure you can take to best protect yourself, including the net guards, I think is a great idea.
Kevin, you mentioned the Florida Panthers, your alma mater in the NHL. I did want to ask you about a report that you put out recently, within the last few days, that Florida is already working on contract extensions with a pair of very important defensemen to the team, Brandon Montour and Gus Forsling. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What have you heard?
Yeah, so essentially we know that the Panthers were able to have another historic season last year, a great season for them, second time making the Stanley Cup final in their history. So props to the Panthers, always shout them out because they gave me my opportunity to play in the league. They drafted me, so always have respect for them. But taking it a step further, they ended up losing some key members of their blue line last year. Mark Stahl was really good for them on the penalty kill, blocking shots. And my man Radko Gudas was awesome for them. The nickname The Butcher in hockey terms, that is. But that was his nickname. That's his nickname. I think they miss him. A lot of teams should have grabbed him. I like Anaheim getting him. He adds so much to the back end. So those two guys are gone. So those are two of your top six defensemen that are gone. And then, of course, you had the injury to Aaron Ekblad and now Montour himself. So, in essence, 4 of their top 6 D aren't there right now. So, in the case of Brandon Montour, he too set individual franchise records last year. He had an amazing season. He really emerged, burst onto the scene, opened a lot of eyes around the league just with his ability to skate, make plays, and defend, be physical, generate offense. So, they're looking to re-sign him. They've been in talks with him and his representatives, as they should be. And likewise with Gustav Forsling, who's also established himself as being a top 4 defenseman in their team. And he's had to play heavier minutes, certainly in the absence of Montour and Ekblad, who are working their way back from injury. So I'm not sure what the number is, what the combined number is. My guess is could it be 13 between them? Could it be 14 million between them? 12 and a half. I'm not sure because they have their salary cap to manage, but those two guys, deservedly so, are going to get their bread. So you could go ahead and back that truck up for those guys. Mm-hmm. Those cats are going to get their bread, and they've earned it. So that's where it stands right now. Of course, the Panthers would love to have both of those guys signed, because if those guys get to the free agent market, look out.
It's been about a year now, but you've joined our club. You joined the Fatherhood Club. How's it going so far?
Yep. It's been amazing, man. Thank you. It's been amazing. He's awesome. We're so blessed. We're really grateful. Obviously, you're grateful when they're healthy, but he's very loving, but very all boy, like all bandage. Like he's cute. He's sweet. He's affectionate, but he's very like. So a lot of times, even he'll do this thing where it's like, if he wants something or he's determined to reach for something or whatever, it's like, I'm like, bro, who are you? The Incredible Hulk? You weren't even around when Hulk was around. So yeah, man, he's a treat. He's really funny to watch. He's great to be around. He's got a good personality, and he's 10 months old, but he's wearing 2-year-old clothes already. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, man, it's nuts. Hopefully, listen, we'll support him and any other ones that we have down the line. We'll support them in whatever they want to do that's positive, any activities or endeavors. But he's wired, at least at this point, for the first 10 months, he's wired like an athlete. So let's see what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in addition to how busy you must be as a new father, you've also been keeping pretty busy with work. I know, just looking ahead, you've got the All-Star game coming up in Toronto, All-Star weekend this year, which I'm sure is going to be crazy, as well as the Stadium Series, which is back-to-back games in your backyard, really, in New York. I know you spent a lot of time there. So just a lot of exciting things coming up, Kevin.
Tons of exciting things come up. It's great for the fans. I mean, this is a great time. We continue to do more and more and provide more and more for the fans. I was just talking to Commissioner Bettman about this. We'll get to that in a second. But we'll start with the All-Star game. And let's go ahead and put this out on the Le Batard Show early, boys. All right, let's put this out early because I am from Toronto. We are New Yorkers / South Floridians now. So All-Star Weekend is going to be up in Toronto. I know a lot of people that I know and love are going to be tuning in. I'm going to repost this. You guys are going to post this. No new cousins, no free tickets, no extra tickets. I don't have any new family members. So I'm just putting that out there now.
You heard it here
first. You know the way that goes.
Yeah, we got to do this the hard way and get credentials.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, though. That'll be really cool to cover that. I did the World Cup of Hockey with ESPN in 2016 up in Toronto, and then now doing All-Star Weekend, which is going to be a great showcase. The league is younger, faster, more skilled, more creative than it's ever been in its history. We have so many talented players, so many talented American-born young players as well, be it Austin Matthews, who plays in Toronto, be it Mitch Marner, who's on that team, Clayton Keller in Arizona, Jack Hughes, who's a superstar now for the Devils. I mean, I can go up and down the list, especially of young American players, but that'll be a lot of fun. We'll have all the coverage all across all ESPN platforms for All-Star Weekend in Toronto. And then you guys were touching on the Stadium Series games. Mm-hmm. So I just emceed the press conference yesterday here at MetLife Stadium alongside Commissioner Bettman, Governor Murphy, and a whole host of other luminaries that were there on our panel. And they're really excited about it. Imagine the New York Jets and New York Giants at their MetLife Stadium partnering and collaborating with the National Hockey League to have 4 teams play 2 games on back-to-back days. So it's going to be incredible at MetLife Stadium. That's one of the most renowned stadiums in the world, man. So I know for a fact, I could give a little teaser. There are going to be some headline musical acts. I can't divulge who they're going to be.
But, it's not Nickelback again,
yeah, a little extra for the fans. So you know the fans around here are going to be bonkers because they're already bonkers here in Metro New York already.
Right.
And then just down the turnpike, just south of us in Philly, an hour down the way.
Oh, yeah.
You already know the way Philly fans rock already.
Bon Jovi.
So, yeah, exactly. So you know the way the Philly fans get down. So, yeah, it's going to make for an incredible atmosphere. And more importantly, a great showcase of the amazing players for the fans. And we're going to have those 2 games on ESPN, ABC, I think, on either one. I think they're actually both airing on ABC. We'll have them both. I'll be working them both. So I'm really excited about doing those ones.
And plus, you guys also have the Stanley Cup Final on ABC this season.
We do.
So that's gonna be great to watch. Kevin,
back down here in Florida.
Oh, I hope so. I really do hope so.
Yeah, hold on. Before we head off, we also, I know a lot of the fans that are tuning in got to watch us on the Frozen Frenzy.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely
great.
Massive.
So much fun.
Shout out to all the NHL fans, man. They were going crazy on Twitter in a good way. It ended up being the number 3 trending topic. It went viral.
Yeah.
On Twitter. People were going nuts. NHL fans couldn't stop. To the point to where they started asking Bucci, myself, all of our whole crew on camera, and there's so many of them that did a great job, as well as so many of our folks off camera that did an amazing job. Mm-hmm. But I got to tell you, these people are like, when's it coming back? Are we getting more?
Oh, you got to do it in April.
When's the next?
You got to do it in April. Come on, let's go.
I'm ready. Listen, I'm ready. All they got to do is say the word. I'm getting the truck. I'll be up in Bristol in 2 hours.
Nice.
So I'm good to go. I've now become like, and Bucci the same. We've become the unofficial kind of liaisons from the fans to our folks at ESPN. Mm-hmm. And we're saying, give the people what they want. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us rather do another Frozen Frenzy in the not too distant future here.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait for that to happen again because you got to do it
Thank
closer to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's got to be exciting. And these games have got to start earlier. Like, it can't be at 7 o'clock. It needs to start at like 5:30, 6 o'clock so everybody gets in. It needs to happen. So, Kevin Weeks.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. We're looking forward to it, man. You're right. In Stanley Cup Finals, you pointed out.
Yeah.
We'll have Stanley Cup Final. Turner did a great job last year. TNT, they had it last year, and we'll get it back this year. So I love working the final. I've done the last 15 of them. This will be my 16th one.
Oh, wow.
Consecutively. Yeah, it's a lot of work because I wear a lot of hats and juggle a lot of different roles, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Stanley Cup is, you go back to playing. I go back to playing street hockey as a kid in Toronto and going and buying hockey cards and sticker books and the whole thing. So to be able to have been on a team that went to a cup final in 2002 was surreal, and the earned chance to work one every year is really cool too.
Yeah, it felt like you were still in the league like yesterday. Like,
it's nuts, man.
Yeah.
It is. You know what's crazy? Like I'm 48, turning 49 in April. I'm almost 50. And there's some guys I played with now that are almost 70, like late 60s, that I played with. It's the craziest thing. It's so wild how quickly it goes.
Yeah.
And, I've got Caribbean parents. My parents are from Barbados. So they always have all these little life kind of lessons and old school Caribbean sayings. And my parents are always like, enjoy your boyhood days. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, enjoy your boy. Don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush to be a big man. I'm like, what are you talking about? And now they were so right because it just flies by. And then that flew by. Playing flew by. I'm in my 16th year of media now. It just all flies by. So that was really sage advice from them for sure.
You think it's going fast now. That clock speeds up even more when you become a dad.
Yeah.
Bro, totally. We just said that. Well, it's funny. We're in the city the other day in New York, and we're driving down West Side Highway. And my wife, Meg, she goes, do you remember we're at Mount Sinai and he was born? And then next thing you know, we're in the truck and we're driving him back on this highway over the GW Bridge back to the house in Jersey. I'm like, yeah, like it's almost a year. Like it'll be a year, December 9th. Like it's just, you're so right. It absolutely just flew by in the blink of an eye. It's nuts, man.
Thank goodness we have phones to take pictures of all this stuff.
It's true.
Oh my goodness.
It is so true though. It is so true, man. Yep. I agree. So yeah, no, it's been a great ride, man. The games, kind of in closing, the games have been awesome. There have been some really cool storylines around the league. Just our players just continue to push the envelope of getting better and better and more creative. And I feel like they've pushed the envelope and knocked the door down to where there's an acceptance for their creativity and their skill set and doing things that years ago people, you can't do that. And you get in trouble. You get back to the bench, the player would get in trouble. Your teammates would be giving you, stick for making that kind of a play. So the game's never been faster. It's never been more intense from that standpoint and more creative and more skilled. So our game's in a great place right now, man.
Kevin Weeks, ESPN. We appreciate you having you on, and I can't wait to have you back on the show again.
Thanks, fellas. Anytime. Hey, don't let this be a one-hit wonder, okay? No Milli Vanilli. Let's make this a reoccurring thing.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Kevin.
I'm in. Yo, I'm in. Hey, we're all DK family, so
yeah,
I'm in.
All right.
I'm in.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, fellas. Thanks for having me, man. Have a great day.
You too, man.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Be well.
All right, fellas. Get me back.
I got you, man. We got you. Trust me.
Later.
See ya. All right, thank you for Kevin Weeks for joining us there. I want to go over the Panthers week right now. We are recording this on a Thursday to be released on Friday, so we're going to miss talking about the game versus the Red Wings, but we are going to talk about what happened on Monday between the Panthers and Flyers. The Panthers lost in overtime 3-2. They got out to a 2-0 lead in the first period, but of course they had Sam Bennett in the lineup, and then he got hurt, and then things changed from there, David.
Yeah, it's never good when this team has to go without Sam Bennett. We saw last season, late in the year, Bennett was hurt. The Panthers struggled. Bennett came back for Game 2 of the playoffs, and they took off. This year, they've done okay without him, but certainly we've been waiting for Bennett to pop into that lineup. He was in there for all of, 7 minutes of game time, and he went out. It just sucks for the Panthers, Roy. There's no better way to paint it. Hopefully, he's not out for that long.
Can I jump in here before I get into Benny? And I have a lot of thoughts on Benny. The Toronto group back together. Look at us, the three of us. Even Danny. Danny was there.
Yeah.
Danny was in Toronto. Look at us, just back together. Where are we going this year?
Probably back to Toronto. The All-Star game is there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but a lot colder probably.
Now you just reminded me of our
I was gonna
All-Star
say
game partying experience, man. We had a good time last year, huh?
Yeah, man.
And the Panthers made the final?
Oh,
What a good year last year was.
We were spoiled.
there.
We were.
Are the Panthers now? Last year, the Panthers were a good team. Obviously, made the Stanley Cup final. They were bad on the power play.
Yeah,
This year doesn't seem much better.
I think-
Make me feel better about the power play.
I think it's early in the season. I think the
Small
sample
sample?
size is pretty small. So, but I think it'll even out. But right now, it's been off and on. There's been a couple of games where the power play has shown decency. They've had good puck movement. They just
Yes.
couldn't finish.
Yeah, they've shown flashes of greatness, and I think with this, you've just got to look at the cast of characters on this power play. You've got Barkov, Tkachuk, Reinhart. You add Evan Rodriguez to the mix. Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's been great as a quarterback to this power play, and that's what he's done throughout his career. I think that there's so much talent, Chris.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before they start to break
I
down.
have the jury still is out for me on this Rodriguez guy. I don't know, and I know he's a nice player. I don't have a lot. I'm not as a guy that really just follows the Panthers. I don't know him that well. I don't know. I've seen some things I like. He seems like he's fast.
Yeah, he is fast, and we lost a lot of speed when Anthony Duclair got.
That's
traded to
basically
San
like
Jose,
that's
you
the
know?
switch, right? He's taking Duclair's minutes, right, in terms of like shifts and stuff. I'm just saying. I just as a Panther guy, I'm not fully there yet. I hope to see more from him.
Back in the Bruins game, I want to talk about the Charlie McAvoy match penalty. He got a major for
Dirty play.
Dirty play. Major for illegal check to the head. He got the game misconduct, and the league automatically reviewed that and gave him a 4-game suspension. He's a repeat offender, so I guess that's where the 4 games came in, right?
He is. Once before, I think it was during the playoffs, actually, there was another instance that he was suspended for. But yeah, I mean, just look at that game. It was a repeat offense in that game. There was a hit in the first period where he hit Carter Verhaeghe in the head, and that went unnoticed. And Verhaeghe had the puck, so you could argue that maybe there's a little bit more, should have, but you should never hit a guy in the head.
Right.
It's just
That's how I live my life.
Yeah.
You live your life a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarter of the rink at a time. Trying to make it turn into a hockey slogan.
I mean, you tried.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, you're here.
Toronto Crew!
Toronto Crew!
I'm just the energy loud guy. You guys really do the hockey stuff here because I feel like I'm way outmatched here in terms of hockey knowledge. That's why I tried to do the power play thing a minute ago. Tried to do the Rodriguez thing because I know he's a new guy. I'm faking it right now.
I think you're doing
played
good.
it off well.
You're doing great.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're doing great.
You
Every
guys are
good
great.
power play has their guys have their role. Okay,
Right.
so we've got our roles.
I'm like the guy standing in front of the net, just trying to
You're our
deflect one
Tkachuk.
in. Like you guys are doing the main shooting and passing, and I'm just there to kind of tip one in at the end.
What about the penalty kill, Chris?
It's just been killer.
That's
Well, a bunch of murderers on both of those lines.
Ooh,
right?
that could be a good penalty killing team. What do we
the
call
death row penalty kill.
Yeah,
it
the
is.
murderers row. Let's talk about the fans' and reaction to Oliver Ekman-Larsson getting hurt. That's who.
Yeah.
That's the recipient of that headshot.
2 names.
They seem to be happy about the injury, almost like they're Eagles fans or something like that.
I think you mean Sam Bennett, and yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said Ekman-Larsson, but no, because everybody loves Oliver Ekman. Oh, except for Toronto.
well, Ekman-Larsson
except for
also-
Vancouver
yeah,
fans.
You notice I didn't pick up on that. I was like, yep, 2 name guy.
Yeah. Two name guy.
the hyphens. The hyphens
The
are real.
hyphens get you.
But
Yeah.
no, that's what's
Ryan
interesting
Nugent
with
Hopkins.
the Sam Bennett injury threw me, and the reason why is because it happened. He hurt his leg. It didn't look intentional, nothing like that. But I tweeted it out. Toronto fans, dude, are pissed.
I mean,
they're
obviously.
still upset with what happened from the playoffs last year.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they're out there like celebrating this guy's injury like it's Christmas.
Yeah.
And the most common comment that I'm getting is karma's a bitch.
Most common comment.
Yeah.
But how are you going to say karma's a bitch when you're talking about another person getting hurt? Isn't that kind of like the argument folds in on itself?
I think so.
I'm not an expert in this area.
Karma's a B? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, just don't do that. That's just
not cool.
indecent. That's
Karma
very
is my
indecent.
boyfriend.
I'm surprised it's the Toronto fans. I'm
Boyfriend.
going to have to
It's a
process
Taylor
that.
Swift lyric.
Oh, it is.
Karma is my boyfriend.
1989.
Karma is a god. No, it's like her most recent album, Midnights, I believe it's called.
I'm
I'm a sneaky little Swiftie.
Hey,
I'm a
I
sneaky Swiftie.
I just threw a year
My
out
daughter
there.
loves the song. That's like one of her albums, 1989.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been slowly making it into
Yeah.
Swiftie land. My son is big into Taylor Swift now.
Karma is my boyfriend.
He sees Travis Kelce on TV and he doesn't go, "Ooh, there's the Chiefs All-Pro tight end."
I know.
No.
There's Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
No, not catching touchdowns.
No,
No.
not a Super Bowl champion twice.
No, not on the
It's
field.
Taylor Swift's man.
You think we can get Taylor to a Panthers game?
Hey, anything's
We
possible.
just got to get Travis.
I would say Matthew Tkachuk single, right? Can we?
Is he single?
I don't know. That's I'm asking.
I
remember seeing him at a Heat game during like the finals last year, and he was with a lady. So I mean,
being with a lady doesn't necessarily mean you're not single,
right?
Yeah, it's gonna be the next Mr. Steal Your Girl type situation.
I'm just like, how do we get Taylor Swift to a Panthers game? Like, there's got to be some like Kelsey-esque meat on the table.
Who's the next biggest celebrity that we could pair with a Panthers player that could really rival?
Well, like Ariana Grande, right?
Like if Ariana Grande
yeah.
or like Selena Gomez or like someone in those realms, like just super famous, was dating Kachuk, then we could.
Well, Ariana Grande has already ridden the Zamboni at the Panthers game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
not where I was going,
Okay,
dude.
my bad.
She also got hit by a puck. Yeah.
She did?
Yeah, when she was a kid, and there was a story about it in the Herald and everything.
That's how she got on the Zamboni.
That's why they have those ridiculously high nets now.
Yeah.
Have you noticed how much higher those are this year?
Oh, it got
they go
higher?
all the way up to you guys' thing in the press box, it seems like. No, because like last year it was high, but a player could throw a puck over it. Now it's not even, you can't even throw, you have to give you can only give pucks away now on the sides of the ice because behind the nets, the netting is double the height. Maybe you guys don't notice it from where your vantage point is. I notice it from my seats.
Yeah, it's like eye level
it
with
is
us
double
now, right?
the height. It is like, I think because they had a few pucks.
No,
I think they're just trying to eliminate pucks flying into.
There were some instances where and
it's like double the.
Stop looking at your phone and pay attention to.
But look at what they did in baseball too. Like baseball, the whole field is wrapped in it,
and it hasn't affected.
All the way to the foul pole.
I still it hasn't changed the experience of a baseball game, like all that netting.
Well, all those fans that aren't getting those foul balls now.
Yeah, that's true. Missing out on foul balls.
It makes the dude that sits in the field and collects all the foul tips. He makes him very popular.
Oh yeah, just get a bucket and just put it in there. I guess. Huh?
I've always wanted, like growing up, I thought I wanted to be one of down the first base, third base line at a Marlins game. Like, that would be the ideal bat boy.
I always wondered how those guys got their jobs when I was a kid. Like how can that be me?
I had a friend that was a bat boy. I think it's just like all jobs. It's just kind of like being a squeaky wheel and getting like to the right person. Like it's not random dude from my high school was a bat boy.
It's all about who you know.
Yep.
All right. Lastly, we're gonna have Sara Civian on in a couple of moments. Last time we saw her was during the All-Star break. And we hung out.
We had our own little crew.
Oh, it was great. We went to the Hard Rock. Like was it you got us access? Like there was some reason we went there for some party. Yeah. And next thing you know, the four of us are watching DJ Pauly D DJing. And the next thing I know, you guys are gone because you're old men.
Yeah.
Roy and I had an experience. We had an old man come to Jesus type experience where we just kind of looked at each other. You and Sarah disappeared to the dance floor. And have a great time.
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. It was just we stayed around moved closer to DJ Pauly D, and you guys.
Yes, you moved closer into the party.
Yeah.
And Roy and
I wouldn't call what we were doing dancing. We were just
I don't know what you were doing. There was like a horde of people
around each other dancing.
A classic fist pump situation is what was going on.
And Roy and I were huddled next to the bar.
Yeah.
As soon as we finished our drinks, we're like, "You want to get out of here?"
Yeah, let's get up out of here.
This is scary.
The one moment I'll take from that is you ordering drinks at the bar inside that club. I mean, you just took somebody else's spot. You hugged up against this guy. Like,
hey, man.
You were boxing out, man. You're like
He
Alonzo
was
Mourning.
ready to fight you, and I was ready to fight him.
Sir.
Okay, the penalty box door is open again. We have ourselves a new 5-minute major, and Sara Civian from the Bleacher Report and the co-host of Too Many Men is joining us. The last time we saw you, Sarah, was at a nightclub for the All-Star game. We didn't last long there, but you happened to stay there. Can you go over that night again for us?
Yeah, we're going to call that a game misconduct in a game match. We're kicked out of the game. But I was there for the All-Star game with the lovely Dan Le Batard Show and Le Batard and Friends. And of course, David over there knew exactly where to go. We go to the Hard Rock. First of all, I'm mesmerized. You're like, it's going to look like a guitar. And it looked like a guitar. They don't make any frills about that. And then we walk in to the nightclub David got us into, like coolest thing in the world. And already the drinks are ridiculously expensive, but what do you think? So we're just having Red Bulls. Some of us are doing the Red Bull vodka. I'll admit I had one. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Pauly D shows up in a Golden Knights jersey, if I'm not mistaken. He's a Golden Knights fan, but he showed up and he showed out, and it was like everybody went from 0 to 100. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I went from 0 to hard stop. I crashed into something. One part. I don't know how that happened.
That was a jarring experience.
Yes, it was. the music, the bass went through my entire body and soul. So we had to escape.
Yeah. Yep. Roy and I made
the fight or flight kicked in, and some of us thought, some of us fought.
Well, you and Cody, you and Chris, like beelined for the middle of the dance floor. You were gone. Like I saw your drinks up in the air, but you guys were out of here. And Roy and I just looked at each other like, dude, you want to get out of here? Yeah.
I still had my backpack from the event, and somebody let me put it in VIP. So I'm just like tossing my backpack. I'm like, guys, it's Pauly D. This is a huge moment. He didn't miss a beat, I will say. He looks as young as ever.
Well, we missed plenty of beats over there by the sad poker table.
We were feeling it. We're sitting at this bar and just like decompressing. Our bodies are still shaking from the bass from the club, and we're just like trying to drink and calm down. And you guys are in there having a blast. So
David,
to you.
I have to say the highlight of that day was still meeting your cat.
Oh, Mojo says hi, by the way.
Mojo's the real star of the show.
I want to talk about the Bruins game the Panthers had earlier this week. Charlie McAvoy. What happened, man? You just scored a goal, and then you come out immediately after and give a headshot to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Like, why? What happened?
First of all, the Bruins won Game 8, so that was the most important game.
Yeah, well,
Second
wait
of
until
all,
Game 9.
McAvoy, I would say he deserves more than 4 games for that. That was egregious, and we need to start talking about intent, right? A lot of the time in the NHL, something that needs to change is that, okay, if a guy's bleeding on the ice, if a guy has to leave the game, if a guy's concussed, then you give a harsher punishment. I don't think that's the way to go. And I think things might be changing slowly but surely. And back in the day, you might not see a 4-game suspension for something like this. I still think it should have been at least 5, send a message early in the season, right? But I guess we'll take 4. And now the Bruins have harsher opponents coming up as compared to their easy slate. So we'll see how they do without McAvoy, but that was just wrong.
It's interesting what you say there about playing the result. I feel like that's something the NHL kind of does not in the best ways, to where they'll wait for something to happen. I mean, the pride tape is an interesting way. They'll do something, people freak out, people get upset. Oh, well, you know what? Let me backtrack a little bit. As opposed to in this situation, like you're saying, a guy gets hurt. Who cares? Like, not who cares, but whatever the result's going to be, if he got hit in the head and he's on the ice and he's getting medical attention, that should be enough right there. That's end of sentence. It doesn't matter what happens after that.
Absolutely. And the events of last week with Adam Johnson kind of drive that home more. It's just kind of, we gotta be careful out there, and we have to treat everything preemptively. Like there should have been more paramedics there. There's a lot that we can go over with that situation, but the NHL and all hockey leagues do need to take safety more seriously. And I mean, McAvoy 4 games, that's probably more than the usual what he'd get for that. And I hope he's one of the best defensemen, one of the most new age, but hybrid from the old age too, defenseman, like kind of, he has it all. And I wish he wouldn't do some of these dirtier plays. That he's a sneaky perpetrator of plays like this. And I hope he's still pretty young in his career. And I hope this is a wake-up call that, okay, let's clean it up a little bit.
Now, not to switch gears too severely on you, Sarah, but one of the things that I think you're known for, one of the many things, is your amazing fashion reports, the style rankings. I love them. But I texted you a couple pictures before we got started here, and we're going to show them to everybody after the fact. It's something that I've been wanting to ask you about, and it has to do with goaltending style rankings. Now, we have a goaltender down here in South Florida named Anthony Stolarz, who I think has one of the best looking setups, masked to skates, in the NHL right now. I wanted to get Sarah's take on it. So, Sarah?
Ooh, this is clean, and I'm immediately seeing the gradient. I love that he has his personal touch on it, but there's also a little homage to South Florida with the palm trees. I love the look of the palm trees and the gradient here. I love the metallic vibes and how it all is very cohesive. To prove people wrong, he's probably gonna have to prove a few people wrong. So knowing that goaltending slate you got there, that's true. No excuses, play like a champion. There you go. Did he go to Notre Dame? Who knows? But
no, I don't. He did not go to Notre Dame.
Oh well, the saying
no, that's the Wedding Crashers rule. Oh. That's the rule from the Wedding Crashers.
There we go.
Sarah Civian from the Bleacher Report, co-host of the Too Many Men Hockey podcast. And you have something on the horizon that we can't talk about yet, but we are excited. And once you announce that, I can't wait to hear about what you're going to do in the future. So thank you for joining us today, Sarah.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.